Hey everybody, welcome back. Oh, yeah, I feel like I've been doing nothing but grooming forever. Of course, you guys don't know that because I only publish these once a week. Couple of disclaimers to get through before we get started here. On the stand is Denali, KE Paradise Denali. She is my absolute most stunning doe. Well, I think they're all beautiful, but I just love her. She has so much coat, so much attitude, so much everything. And she is a master champion, so she is retired from the show ring. So that is disclaimer one. Disclaimer two, she's morbidly obese. I'm well aware of that. We are working on it. It was unintentional. I'll tell you that story in a little bit as we work on her. But just be aware, guys. I know she's fat. She knows she's fat. It's only been about 6 months. We're working on it. It was unintentional, and had I known about it sooner, it would have been fixed sooner. Okay? So if you want to pick on me for fat animals, she's the one to pick on for. I know a couple of you came after me about my donkeys being plump, which they're not, but well, they're a little plump, but they're not terribly plump. That was a little unfair and probably a little uncalled for, but you could probably take all those same comments and apply it to Denali, and they'd be fair and called for. All right, so that's out of the way. Third disclaimer, or at least statement of fact. Denali has already been on the stand for about an hour and a half. You guys have seen me brush her hair and spend hours doing it for so many times now that I decided it just wasn't worth it. I needed to give my voice a break. I needed to give my brain a break. And so we did her brushing and her hoof trim off camera. Of course, we always do the hoof trims off camera, but I did her brushing off camera. And I'll give you the reason why in a second as we get her started. Part of the reason why, hopefully you can see this, is all of that. She filled an entire muck bucket of Cashmere, which is impressive considering she was brushed out a month ago. So, fun times. Okay, so that's all the things that you need to know going into this video. Other than that, what you need to know is we're just going to chat and have some fun and wash and bathe the goat. Denali is one of my more patient goats on the stand, thankfully. Good gosh, if she wasn't, it would be awful because she has so much coat. It is so thick and it's in so many layers. Yeah, I know, I got water near your ear. It's terrible. That, it does take a long time to brush her, to shampoo her. I know you're peeing and I'm just still working on you. Isn't that weird? This would be her second time peeing up on the stand today. And that's why we're thankful we have drains here. At any rate, so she has an incredible, and now we're pooping, which would be the second time you're pooping on the stand. Fantastic. I live for it. So since I've been brushing her for the last hour and a half, my allergies are already on fire, which means I already have the sniffles. Usually I can get through the first goat without the sniffles. Now I have them, so forgive me for that. I do try and not do that on camera, although lately I've been managing to sneeze on camera, which is just fabulous. I'm sure y'all love that. All right, so all of this hair, and you will see me work it on the other side, of course. Heck, you can hardly see me over her. She's so big. She is a master champion. She is retired from the show ring. She has done her job. She has fulfilled her duty. And a lot of people ask me a lot of times, well, why put all this effort into her then? Why not just trim her hair? Why not just cut it off? Why not just make it easier on yourself? And there are times, believe me, where I wonder why I don't do that. So a couple of reasons. One is, for me, I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love seeing her in full regalia, looking the way she should. 2, I have the time, the ability, and the setup. If I were still working on my, stand that was on the ground and I was still on my knees in the grass at Farm 1.0, she would have been trimmed up the minute she got her master champion, right? Like it just really would, it isn't feasible to do what I do with that kind of setup on a long-term basis. So that's kind of reason number 1 is I can. Reason number 2, I really do believe wholeheartedly that these goats, they have a coat for a reason. They have their cashmere for a reason. Their bodies go through, the effort to grow and maintain a coat like this for a reason. And to just cut it off for my convenience feels wrong. Do I cut it off sometimes for their convenience? Absolutely. Like I am continuously, especially with my bucks, cutting their hair around their penis and around their stomach because it just gets yucky, it gets wet, it gets dirty, it gets smelly, it can't be comfortable for them. And it's underneath, so why wouldn't I just cut it off? When they're master champions, if there's a really bad mat or knot somewhere, yeah, I'll take a scissor to it as opposed to stand there and work it. But with her coat isn't knotted, it isn't matted, it isn't terrible in terms of its condition, in terms of its maintenance. What it is thick, it's heavy, it's multi-layered. It is, she has a nice, heavy, dense is the word I was looking for, dense coat with a lot of cashmere that comes through in the spring as it sheds out. It has a long way to go because she has such dense hair and so many layers of it, right? So she has her top layer, middle layer, bottom layer. That's a lot of cashmere to work through. And it has to be worked through in order, right? You really have to take it from the bottom layer to the top layer. And if you go in the opposite direction, you try and brush out the top layer first, all you're going to manage to do is snag it on the next layer. And I'm talking layers, but I want to be really clear that her coat is pretty even at the bottom, meaning that all her length is exactly the same. So even though I'm talking about layers, I'm probably really more talking sections. And the other thing to note as we go through this, now I've already shampooed and rinsed her. She's got her conditioner in, and I'm now going to do that conditioner run through, right, where I check and see and find all the things that I've missed. And here's one by her ear, which is probably what she was shaking about because I missed it. And now I have to work it out. And then it will feel better. So she feels better when it's done. I feel better when it's done. And I just love seeing her in the pasture with her long flowing coat the way she's supposed to be. So for me, the work is worth it. Now, let's be realistic too, okay? Spring brush out is the hardest. It takes the longest, it has the most tangles, it has the most things to deal with, right? Because you're talking about cashmere shedding through, which is what I was just, kind of babbling on about. So the first groom session of the season took me 3 hours. This session now, I'm an hour and a half in, hopefully another, 30 minutes or so to get her shampooed, conditioned, and off the stand. So another 2 hours maybe. So in a year, my time investment, my massive time investment in her coat is, 5 or 6 hours, right? Less than a full work day. That's still a lot of time. And yes, it still feels like a lot of time. But for the rest of the year, it's regular just maintenance, right? There's no more cashmere getting stuck. There's no more knots. There's no more tangles. There's no more things to worry about. It's just putting a brush through it with some conditioner spray, trimming her hooves, which is required no matter what, And she's on and off the stand in a relatively reasonable time, 20 minutes max. So the annual investment is like negligible. The investment in spring is just piled up because it's kind of one big blob. And now I'll wash her again in fall, just because I like to give them baths twice a year. So I'll add that to my own plate. It's not a requirement. In fact, spring baths are not a requirement. I just think that everybody feels better when they're clean. So that is why I maintain this coat, despite the fact that, frankly, she doesn't need it. She's not going into a show ring again. There's nothing, I don't need marketing pictures and all that. You have the videos. You know what she looks like. You don't need me to continue to shove it in her face, right? She's a master champion and she's earned it and then some. So this is just my preference and one of the reasons why I keep my herd manageable. And when I talk about layers of coat here, I want to show you what I mean, and hopefully you can see this, right? So if I part this, you've got a bottom layer here, and then another set of hair, right? Like, and you have to keep working from the bottom to the top. So what takes the time is having the patience to do it that way, rather than just come on the surface here and try and rake through all of that. It would never work, and it would just make her a hot mess. If you're going to do it that way, if that's all you have the patience for, and totally understand if that's all you have the patience for, and you have a goat like this and you're not putting them in a show ring, then yeah, trim them. Trim them so that they don't have that concern. You don't have that concern about layer upon layer, sectioning hair and working it one section at a time and really getting to the bottom and the base layer first. It's a pain. It really is. But for me, it's worth it because I love to see the end result. I also have the benefit, like I said, I have the setup, so I'm not breaking my back doing it. But I have the benefit of talking to you guys while I do it, which keeps me a little entertained. And for the hour and a half that I wasn't talking to you guys because I decided y'all had seen enough of that in her last 2 grooms, I have, an ebook or a podcast or something which I wouldn't normally get to. So it's kind of a nice time to have a moment for myself. So I did the schedule as I started to put these together, knowing that I had done 4 goats, grooming and bathing yesterday. And I was doing 2 more today to finish out the herd. Yay! So Denali's, oh, thank you. You just wasted a ton of shampoo, but that was my fault. I should have waited for the shake. Let's see if I have to add more or not. I probably will have to because she shook some of it off. And, par for the course, right? If I had stood there and waited for her to shake, she wouldn't have shaken. So what was I talking about? Oh, time investment, the me time, right? If I wasn't chatting it up with you, and before I started chatting it up with you on a regular basis, this was time for me to listen to a book or to catch up on, a podcast, a documentary, something, right? That I probably would never get to otherwise, just because, when else do you have time to stand there in silence and let headphones kind of rule the day? I don't mind talking to you guys, though. Obviously, I still have plenty to say for some reason. Haven't figured that out yet. I don't know where all the words are coming from, but they're coming. So anyway, so I had put the schedule together. And for those that are new here, these grooming videos are the only videos that are pre-recorded beyond a couple of days, right? I mean, realistically, you're seeing most of my content in very real time. You're seeing it, within 72 hours of it being recorded, it's up on YouTube and you're seeing it, right? And then I'm cross-posting it the same moments. So wherever you're watching me, you're seeing it pretty close to real time, with the exception of these grooming videos. And since I did so many prep sessions for the show, and I did so many baths and recorded them, of course I skipped out on the boys, because I talked to you about that last video. This video is being recorded in May and probably will not be out until August, right? And I only post these on Saturdays. I tried last year to do twice a week, where I posted them on Saturdays and Wednesdays, but they're a very different type of content. Not every user, not every watcher wants to sit here and watch me bathe goats or groom goats and just kind of ramble on about absolutely nothing. So I try and limit it. I found that the twice a week seemed to be a little too much. You know, the interim videos didn't get quite as much traction, which is fine. But if I'm trying to use this to help the channel and it doesn't get any views, it doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't solve the problem or serve the purpose. So once a week seems to be the sweet spot, and that way, if you don't like them, you can skip them, but you still got, you know, 13 other videos from the week to watch, because we're still twice a day, every day, and knock wood, I haven't really missed that. I think I've, you know, over the year or so that I've been doing this, I've missed the twice a day, like four or five times max, and it was because, you know, life just was life. And that happens from time to time. So that is why these guys are not real time. Having them stacked like that, as weird as it sounds, because it's only one video a week, it gives me so much more breathing room. There are times, especially during the work week, where I am scrambling to get videos taken. You know, my time is limited, especially in the winter, right? When daylight is limited, when I can't necessarily go trompsing through the woods or do some of the other fun things that we do on this channel. It can be very challenging to stay on top of it throughout the work week. And then it becomes, well, on the weekend, how much can I stack up, right? Can I possibly take 7 videos between Saturday and Sunday just to get me to, you know, Tuesday or Wednesday and give me a little bit of that breathing room? So in case Monday goes, you know, belly up, which has happened, or Tuesday or whatever goes belly up, right? And I can't get a video done, I have that backup. So this, weirdly enough, having these go out on Saturday morning, and I think we just hit the end of our conditioner. It's okay, I have another bottle. Now it's a pump. I hate the pumps, honestly. So it's not completely empty by any means, but it's not allowing me to pump anymore, right? It's kind of reached the point where the pump isn't getting conditioner out. So what I will do is, now that I've converted to the new bottle, as soon as the new bottle has space in it, which won't take long because you see how much I have to use on their coats, I will get the balance of the other bottle into this bottle. So I try not to waste anything. We really try not to throw anything away, if at all possible. It is not my intent to ever, same place, right by your ear, waste things when I don't have to, right? In fact, I really hate that they're plastic bottles that I have to recycle instead of, you know, somehow refill. I buy, you know, the bulkiest containers possible so that I'm not using as much single-use plastic. But sadly, that's just how things are packaged, right? Like, I wish I could use less. I'm not going to say 100% paper free, because there is paperwork that goes along with having goats, but short of that, At work, I'm 100% paper free. And in the house, you know, we're as close to paper free as we can get, knowing that, you know, there are things that I do, right? I have to package soap in something. I have to have packing slips. With the goats, they have health records that have to go to their new homes with them. They have registration certificates. So there is some paperwork that gets done in the house, but not much, right? And I've told you before, we don't even use toilet paper. We use bamboo-based toilet paper. It's amazing. I think it's better than the paper. Are you going to pee again? You are. For those of you that are thinking you want a house goat, this is why you don't want a house goat. That is the third pee in we'll call it under 2 hours. So yeah. Oh, and pooping. That would be the third poop in under 2 hours. So yeah, you don't want that in your house. Trust me. So anyway, you know, we really are, I try and keep our operation, our household, what we can do for the environment as sustainably managed as possible, right? So we limit waste to the least amount possible. We reuse where possible. We, if I can avoid single-use plastic in packaging, I will. It's not possible, right? I wish it were, right? I wish somehow conditioner and shampoo and other things would come in something other than plastic, but it doesn't. And those bottles just aren't necessarily something that I've found a use for, sadly, and I just can't have them stacking up around for no reason. So they do get recycled. We do recycle. I know that a lot of people believe, and they're not wrong, that, you know, the recycling game is sort of a big joke because in a lot of communities it just gets thrown in with the regular garbage anyway. I pay to have my recycling picked up. And yes, I've been told that I'm wasting my money on that, and maybe I am, but at least I feel like I'm trying. And, you know, all of the packaging that I create, all the things that I put out in the world are post-consumer recycled product. They've already been used once, if not more. And we try, you know, that's where I try and do my part. So I will not, that bottle that I just set aside there so cavalierly will not be just tossed full of, you know, because you guys know, with a pump especially, there's plenty of product down in there. It will be used to its fullest, and then we will recycle the bottle. So there is that. It's the best we can do, and sometimes that's all you can do, right? Let me know in the comments what you do about recycling or reclaiming, or do you not do anything, you know? And that's, I'm not going to say there's a right and a wrong answer because I don't think we've found the perfect answer yet, right? I think that there's a fairly reasonable argument for almost every side of the coin here in terms of sustainability. I am sustainability certified, which is an interesting process to go through. And it really just means that, you know, I had some training and I lived into the theory of sustainability. But because I've had that training, I recognize very much so that there's a lot of fallacies out there, right? And there's a lot of puts and takes. I choose not to use paper towels or napkins, which means we use, you know, rags, right? And rags are washable and reusable, and we use them until they pretty much fall apart. And so they're very much a long-term item that isn't contributing to the landfills. However, and I say this with all seriousness, it is not a perfect solution in any way, shape, or form, because washing uses water, uses resources, uses electricity, uses detergent. Detergent comes in a plastic bottle. You know, like you have to weigh what works best for you, what you can support realistically, what you feel is correct. Because by the time you do all of the, pluses and minuses and the balancing of all the different pieces of the puzzle, oftentimes what we think is sustainable is actually not the most sustainable choice, but it's at least a conscious choice, right? It's an effort, it's an awareness, and I think that means more than anything else that we could do, right? There's definitely people out there who are militant about it, but even with that, I would argue that some of what they're doing and some of what they're preaching isn't always the most sustainable option or the most perfect choice. It just happens to be the best choice at that moment in time for them. And your choices should evolve as information evolves. And, so that's why I'm not very black and white on it. I don't believe that there's a right or wrong answer. I really, truly feel that it's more about creating the mindset of thinking about it, right? What is this thing and what is its lifespan and how is it going to end up? Is it going to be in a landfill in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? Or is this a long-term thing that I need? Is this something I can't get any other way? Is this, there's lots of things, right? Like, I'll give you, once again, another perfect example. We don't necessarily consume a whole lot of cheese in our household, but I need cheese in the house because when I want to give the dogs medications or treats or their heartworm, flea and tick treatment, whatever, it gets hidden in cheese. The most sustainable solution is some sort of, bulk packaged cheese, right? Cheese that is in wax paper or in a block form that hasn't been cut, cheese that is not wrapped in plastic. However, the best choice for my family and for my household is, individually wrapped slices, which does mean there's single-use plastic there. And, evil, right? But honestly, the difference for me, the pluses, the minuses are, I go get a big old block of cheese or something. Even if it's not a big old block, I get enough cheese. It goes to waste and I'm throwing away food because I can't possibly use that all with the use cases that I have, right? Which is really just dog medication and, the oddball grilled cheese sandwich every so often. Not very often at all. We just don't consume cheese in our house in that sense. So for me, the best choice is, one of those packs of 16 slices or whatever. And I can open one slice at a time, and one slice I can give all the dogs from that one slice their medication for the month. If Hugo or, whoever is on different kind of medication, it might be 2 slices, right? But then the other slices are just fine and they can sit there for as long as it takes until I use up that little tiny pack. Again, most sustainable, best option for the environment? Absolutely not. Most manageable solution for me? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure I just double conditioned her while I was talking. Y'all should have stopped me. Didn't I just rinse her conditioner and then put more conditioner in? Oh well. I got focused on the conversation. That's actually pretty funny. So, again, most sustainable solution that exists based on, the rules, whatever rules there are, doesn't work for me. So I got to use the best solution I can for me that still at least was thoughtful, right? And so that's what we try and do here is, we're not perfect. We're not 100% green. I would love to say we are, but it's not realistically possible. What we can be is as close to it as possible. we can be thoughtful about our choices, and we can not double condition goats every so often. I really think I did that twice, didn't I? I was supposed to pick up the spray bottle and just spray her and be done. Oh, she's such a patient goat, I'm telling you. But you see, even this, right? The secondary, you know, how many times have I run a brush over her and I'm still finding little knots and little bits of cashmere to pull out. So it certainly wasn't a waste in any way, shape, or form, just probably a little bit more time than expected. Oh, you have a little skin tag here. This is another reason why I like to wash and bathe my goats. It is just a little skin tag. Okay, I'm not going to pull that off. It's not doing anything to you. We'll keep an eye on it. And we have our vet visit, so we'll let our vet know and see if she thinks there's anything that needs to come off. But if I have never brushed her and I never bathe her, I would have never found that little tiny skin tag. And if for some reason it's a naughty little skin tag and it, you know, needs to come off, I've now found it when it's teeny tiny, and we'll get it off in another day or two when our vet visit comes, and it won't sit on her body and fester for years before it becomes big enough to be seen without laying hands on it. So all of those things are reasons why I do what I do in terms of grooming goats, in terms of sustainability. I don't know, this conversation was kind of everywhere, but I'm going to cut it there because if I keep talking, I'm going to keep grooming her and she doesn't need it anymore. She is done. She has been a fantastically patient goat. I am so proud of her for putting up with all of this because, again, remember, she's been on the stand a lot longer than we've been talking. So, guys, until next time, as always, there's work to be done. Bye for now.